that have actually done this on the battlefield. I would say our plan is to continue to be roughly in the zone where 90% of our business is growing like it is now at 49% with this rule of 83, and somewhere in that range we guided to rule of 80. And that's going to be primarily driven by the U.S. I would say as a unknown variable, we're seeing very significant demand for our software, our government software, around the world outside of Europe. And those are early days, but the demand, the signal there is very strong.
And then on the Titan point, I think that's an excellent point and is going to be a big part of the future where you're really thinking about how do you build your hardware around the software. There are some classified projects that we have as well where the first step to building the hardware is not to build the hardware. It's actually to build the mission payload and the software that can execute the thing and then work backwards from that to figure out what is the hardware that you ought to have around that. And this plays to this, it is actually a cultural impedance mismatch. Like if you're a hardware company, you think about the world the way that a construction person would think about building the house. You have to pour the foundation first. You can't do anything. But actually with software, you have to build the kitchen first. If you don't, you're gonna get it all wrong. And so I've seen a lot more of the next gen programs that are starting to think about how do we build the lethal software first, and we'll figure out how to wrap the hardware.
One of the most interesting things about the current environment we're in is something Sham is alluding to, which is, and again, it's a European versus American. People assume if you're world-class at hardware, you'll be world-class at software and they're interchangeable. It's just not true at all. And like the skills and the taste you need to do software is a completely different thing. And America's unique advantage is hybrid software, hardware, software, and any program that's trying to outpace and beat our adversaries it basically is going to have to begin with a software first or software hardware hybrid program, because otherwise we're at a disadvantage. And also the resourcing and the way you organize is going to be suboptimal in this country. Conversely, this is one of the challenges that some of our allies and our adversaries have. The role of taste in getting these things to work, tribal knowledge and ability to do it, is really, really underestimated.
Alex, as always, we have a lot of individual investors on the line. Is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up the call?
This company is organized around giving our friends a really strong shot, I would say unfair advantage, and not helping our adversaries and our enemies and on occasion hurting them. And a lot of you are scattered around the world and helping us in many ways. And we are in a phase where we are very focused on scaling our company. We really appreciate your support and the fact that you defend us. Our support of Western values is often under attack for somewhat idiotic reasons. Our belief that meritocracy will lead us to a better place, that competence is better than incompetence, that competence includes ethics, and the fruits of those labors are here today, but none of that would have been possible without your support. So thank you.
Thank you. That concludes Q&A for today's call.